All right, we're going live, I think.
Yeah, we're live now with Piper and Tank and Tank's dogs. What are your dogs' names again, Tank?
Floyd, after Pretty Boy Floyd. You see, he looks like him. And then Bud, after Bud Abbott, the famous comedian for all you little puppies out there. No pun intended. You like how I did that? Whoa.
And we also have Colin Crandall on here, who's going to be giving reactions to the Tito Ortiz versus Anderson Silva boxing fight tonight. And we have Tank Abbott, former world championship wrestling superstar, former UFC fighter, MMA legend. And this is going to be interesting. The first time we ever did this, it's going to be Tank's reaction to this boxing fight.
Yes. Tank, super excited, man, to hear you. You have a background with several of these guys. I don't think you ever had much involvement with Evander Holyfield, but you know, you're right. You know, obviously, of Anderson Silva, and you know quite a bit about Tito Ortiz and Vitor Belfort. So let me ask you before this fight starts.
Sure.
What is Tito Ortiz's game plan here in this fight? First, he agrees to make 195, and he comes in at 200, and then he misses weight, and he's pissed off. You know, what do you think about that? Was that what you expected?
You know, that's funny. You know, and knowing Tito, well, I don't know. Maybe his people should have thought about it and said, "Hey, you're never going to make that weight at 195. So I don't know if he really tried to make it. Maybe he just tried to make 200 so he wouldn't be, oh my, did you see the photos or the weigh-ins? My God, he looked not quite the same.
No, he looked drained. He really looked gone, didn't he?
Very much so. And, you know, I hope that doesn't reflect it in his performance. I don't believe it would. I mean, he wrestled for a long time, so he knows how to cut weight. So it should be interesting to see. And I don't understand why he would be upset for not making weight. But then again, how much credit can you give, man? So
correct. I think he was just angry or something that they put that limit on him, but he was the one that agreed to it. I don't know. A gimmick with Tito, I think, is he's always angry. He's always really finding some way to be pissed off, and I think that's kind of what his bag is, as they used to say. But what do you think about him agreeing to this matchup? I know he's naturally the bigger man than Anderson Silva, and I guess that's kind of his only saving grace, because otherwise this matchup on paper seems like he's going to get bobbleheaded all night. What do you think?
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, I really didn't know Anderson Silva was. I hadn't really seen him fight, but I know the famous picture of him kicking Vitor Belfort in the face. This is a pretty decent shot. And obviously, I thought to myself, and I had seen some bits and clips of him sparring here and there, and I know Tito for sure, and Tito cannot box. I mean, anybody can learn to hit a heavy bag and punch mitts and all that kind of stuff, but I'm pretty sure that I was around, probably the first person I ever was around with boxing gloves on, and he's all scared and timid and afraid. And so right there, you know that someone's not really a boxer when they're so terrified just putting gloves on. And so at that point in time, I was like, well, Tito's going to get his ass handed to him. I looked into Anderson Silva. I started watching him sparring, and yeah, he's technically sound and everything looks good. But I went, wow, my takeaway of watching that was like, wow, this guy's kind of small. And believe it or not, that's why there's weight classes in fighting, because size is a big, big difference. And so, and so Tito comes in big, and the other guy's trying to get big, and that doesn't bode well. So I don't know if Tito's going to go over there and manhandle him. Who knows? So it makes it intriguing, but definitely I think just from checking out the Anderson Silva guy, he definitely has some good hands.
Yeah.
Obviously, Vitor thinks he's got good feet too, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely, two interesting fights. The first, yeah, we're going to do your opinion and your thoughts and reaction to both, right? But the first up will be Anderson Silva against Tito. Anderson Silva, I don't know if you watched when he was over in Mexico only a couple months ago. He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.'s son, who was a pretty good fighter and a former world champion, not as good as his dad. But Anderson was actually like a 2 or 3 to 1 underdog in that fight, and pretty much boxed the ears off of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And here's the statistics right now. He and Tito are both 46 years old. They're both about 6'2". The weight, Anderson came in at 192.6 because it was a 195 limit. Did he cut a little bit to get there? Maybe, probably not much. Tito probably cut like crazy. Right. Tito cut like crazy to make 200. So Tito's probably going to walk in, what would you say, maybe 220 today?
Yeah, I would be guesstimating about that. And, so he gets rehydrated, and then, whatever. He looked like when he came in when I was training at the beginning, he came into the room and then he took off because he really wasn't wanted around, and he started hanging out with a crew down that way with John Lober and all those guys. And lo and behold, his head started growing like no tomorrow. I don't know what happened. I think it's pretty obvious, but he turned into Mr. Potato Head that we all know and love today.
Yeah, his head is amazingly large. Is that going to be, right, in many ways, figuratively and literally, is that going to be more of a target for Anderson, or that's going to be a negative, or is that going to benefit him because his big head, he can take a punch fairly well?
Oh, I don't know about either of that, but let's just say it's interesting that his head is so big, and then when he had to cut weight, he looked all sucked up and drawn out. I mean, I'm pretty sure, this is my opinion, it's pretty obviously that he's dabbled around with performance enhancing
substances. Yeah, it seems like the card tonight doesn't have a lot of checking. There's no USADA involved because Vitor Belfort is back up to the former Vitor Belfort that he was when he was able to use TRT and other stuff. So it looks like this is one of those events where there's not going to be a whole lot of testing. And it's going to be interesting to see, how that plays out. So while we're waiting, there's Tito waving his flag. He's got the American flag, and he's all fired up. He looks interesting. You guys started training together. You got in the UFC, I think I recall, in 1995. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
And Tito's first fight was what, 97?
I don't keep up on his stats, right. I have no idea.
Yeah, so you were the original Huntington Beach bad boy, and then he took that name. Was that a name that you said he could use, or did he just decide to use that?
No, I don't really care. I never assigned any names to myself, even the tank thing Art Davey came up with, but I don't care either way. But he's the Huntington Beach bad boy. I think it's more appropriate for him to be the Huntington Beach bad boy because more for nefarious reasons than any other walking the street and be able to kick people's asses. But he's the kind of guy you need to lock your doors around.
Yeah, I hear that. I heard from a few people.
So he can be the Huntington Beach bad boy all he wants, but I like his new moniker or name or whatever, and that's former Mayor Pro Tem. You got to take your hat off here. You have to take your hat off for Tito to become the Mayor Pro Tem. Way to go, Huntington Beach, my beloved city. You got the best political candidate you could ever want.
That was amazing. I think when you found that out and he was going to be the mayor, I think you said you were glad you're in Arizona, right?
Absolutely. Scottsdale, out here with
Nice.
the coyotes and rattlesnakes. I love it out here. It's great.
Nice, nice. So Tito is 46 years old, as is Anderson. So no one has the advantage there. They both got a similar reach. Anderson fought mostly at 185 and had a few fights at 205. Tito fought exclusively at 205. He's going to be heavier here because of the agreed upon weight and the fact that he was over by 5 pounds. With him being the bigger man who has less boxing skills, what do you think? What do you think, or what do you expect we're going to see? I mean, is he going to try to do a lot of clinching, or is he going to do a lot of running? I mean, normally he's not the guy that wants to run, but Anderson Silva is definitely a far superior boxer than he is.
Absolutely. I have no idea. I can't wait to see it. I see him dancing around.
I hear you.
He's dancing around with a flag right now. Anyways, it's going to be interesting. Tito will come in shape. That's one thing you can say about Tito. He gets in shape, and that's for sure.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in shape. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be
absolutely. Do you know? There's talk that an MMA fighter in one of these boxing matches, if things start going wrong, will resort to some MMA, like shoot a takedown or throw a kick. We haven't seen it yet because I hear that there's some strict clauses in the contract that if you do that, or if you think you're going to foul the guy and then catch a break, then you're not going to be paid. Although I don't know if they can really say that just on a foul. But do you think there's any chance if things start going south on Tito, he's going to shoot a takedown or do anything illegal?
Well, when I heard you rambling on about no one's ever done that before, the first thing that came to mind was, well, there's nobody been dumb enough to do that.
Right.
And then you asked me the question, would Tito do that? And I found myself guessing. Would he do it? So,
right.
Yeah, no, so maybe he might just be the smart enough guy to try it.
It would be interesting, he might need that. Anyway, the odds here, odds makers have this pretty much like a crush fight. And that term from wrestling, it's like 10-1 Anderson Silva. And there they go. And they're off and running. In the ring center, Tito Ortiz is kind of like John L. Sullivan. And he's taking the ring center. He definitely looks like the bigger man by about 20 pounds. Anderson looking very relaxed. Both of them throwing a little bit. Tito throwing hook after hook after hook after hook. Anderson doing some connecting, not much, and some movement. Interesting. Tito's looking like he's really wanting to kind of take that ring center, and Anderson's letting him have it. What do you think of what you're seeing so far?
Well, guess what? I'm a little bit behind you guys. We're just starting up, but I'll get to see what you just saw in a bit.
Okay.
I don't know what's up with the feed, but we can make it work. So
no problem.
Right now, Anderson's just getting into it.
Right. So Tito has Anderson in the corner. He's crowding him. And he's throwing a lot of punches, and he's not really, but they don't have much snap on him. Oh, wow. All right. There we go. Tank, you're about to see it. And this is what some people were afraid of. Anderson Silva let Tito throw a bunch of punches and then spun off the corner, pretty much a 1-2. And the Huntington Beach bad boy is on the ground, not knowing where he is.
We can't see it. It hasn't started yet.
Oh, man.
You're torturing me.
Oh, man. Tank is terrible. You can't see it. Well, dude, we'll let you call it as you see it, Tank. Go ahead and call it as you see it here.
Okay. I'll act like I'm clairvoyant, and I'll predict that Tito's going down.
Yeah, but tell me what you see happening.
He's so scared. All right, here he comes walking out. They just had their face off. Tito's getting all jumpy around. God, look at that forehead. My Lord. That Silva looks like he's pretty calm. And now they're getting ready to go What a work, huh? That Tito just goes and falls down like that. Man, see, the world, karma catches up to you. The guy's a con man. There's so many con mans in this sport nowadays.
Yep.
It's like, who's the other clown? The two little lion fools.
The Paul brothers?
What's a Boss? Boss Rutan, who reminds me of that cat on the guy that makes up a bunch of stories. Anyways, saying that I started to digress. I'm watching Tito fight. Here we go. Oh, those are snappy jabs. Throw an elbow, Tito. The deadly elbow.
You should have.
Oh man. So I'm at a minute left in the fight. Oh, my wife's laughing.
Tito's looking like he's trying to do something, but he doesn't know how to throw a punch, really.
Right. I told you he didn't know how to box. But see, he put everybody together. He's not a fighter, people. Oh, yeah, I'm a liar. Look at him. That was, you know what that was a metaphor of? Tito running for mayor.
There you go.
There's your former mayor, HB.
Tank, how would you rate Tito's performance tonight, Tank?
I'm going to be honest with you. No, I'm not going to negative. I'll give him a 2.
Okay, because he looks like he went out there to do something, but it just didn't work, did it?
That looked like somebody that's boxed for a week.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if you were a fast learner, I could go out and do that. I could, back in my days when I went into the boxing gym.
Yeah.
I could box like that. I could box at that level within a week.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him. Are you start smiling and go, oh, look at all the money I ripped off.
Is it over? I don't have it. Is the fight over?
Yes, the fight is
he
over.
got knocked out
I think it was
round.
about a minute into round 2, Devin, and a combination from Anderson.
2 minutes were left.
We're almost cold.
There was 30
fast.
seconds left. Yeah.
Yep.
And he looked so terrible.
Yeah. He looked like he was walking in mud. It really looked like Anderson. And the funny thing is, we always hear in these fight cards, maybe the one guy wants to carry the other guy. Anderson didn't look like he had any interest in carrying Tito Ortiz. He let Tito throw some of these crazy hooks, and then with his back.
Oh, they were terrible.
Yeah,
that was terrible. That was boxing 101.
Yeah, without a doubt.
If Tito watches this, which he might, what would you tell him, Tank? Any advice?
What's your advice here for Tito?
Send me a check for $500 that you stole, and say thank you for not turning you into the cops.
There we go.
That's what I'd say.
That's good advice. and do you have any advice for him for continued fights in the boxing ring?
I understand. No, not really. I don't. You know what? If I had to pay for this, I'd feel like I got ripped off. But the real fights coming up with who's the cat? Holyfield
and Vitor.
No, the bicyclist guy.
Bicyclist.
Oscar
De La Hoya? No,
the guy who rode his bikes. I digress. Whatever.
No problem. Well, Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong.
That would be something if he could get into it. But anyway.
Well, this is how it's working out. You have De La Hoya, who seems to be, I never met the man, unsavory character. And let's see, I went off.
No problem. That fight was canceled because De La Hoya came down with COVID. And
that's right. And then, anyways, he's got a shady reputation, De La Hoya. So he but he pulls out of the fight, and they bring in Lance Armstrong.
There you go. That's what it is. Well, I think it's going to be interesting here, Tank, because a lot of people are on the one side thinking Vitor Belfort's going to win this easy. A lot of people on the other side thinking Holyfield is. But what I think we got to do if Hannibal is still there is Hannibal's got another link for us. So do you want us to click out of this?
We're gonna close this link and open up the one to the next fight.
Okay.
Tank, Sally has it. So
I'll do that right now.
Let's do
thanks
it.
a lot. That's a wrap.
Take care. See you in the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates.